Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Always Compete Seahawks podcast. I am Mike. The man up there jamming his head is Sam. And today we're kind of going to be talking about how we can replace Ahkello Witherspoon. So if you guys didn't know, Ahkello Witherspoon yesterday was traded for a fifth-round pick. We sent him to the Steelers. We did a video about that. Make sure to go check it out to get our reactions. But in this video, we're going to focus on how we're going to replace him, who we could replace him with, and stuff like that. So a name that I've been excited about, and, Sam has told me maybe the fit isn't the best, and I can understand that. But I think a name that really excites me is Bryce Callahan. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, I'm also a Bears fan. I watch the Bears all the time. And several years ago, Bryce Callahan was amazing with the Bears. Absolutely amazing. And he went to the Broncos. So did Kyle Fuller. And the Broncos are thinking about, I forget how it was worded, but they said something like it's a strong possibility that they're willing to trade him or something like that. And or could be a surprise cut. So first of all, I do think that the Seahawks should try to trade for Ahkello Witherspoon. Not Ahkello Witherspoon. We traded him away. We should try to trade for Bryce Callahan. And if he's cut, absolutely scoop him up as soon as possible. But I doubt he would get, past the waiver wire or whatever that is. Or no, he wouldn't be a waiver because he's a veteran, but scoop him up in whatever way possible. So I would be very excited to see Bryce Callahan. I think he's a great corner. He would probably play in the slot, which we kind of already have a guy who could play in the slot. So I don't know exactly how that would work, but I just feel like he's just such a great player to have at corner and is a position of need for us. I think it would be awesome if we can get Bryce Callahan. So, Sam, what are kind of your thoughts on us getting Bryce Callahan and what it would take kind of for us to trade for him?
So, Bryce Callahan would probably be a pretty tough player to acquire. I would imagine that it would be a third or higher pick, which I really don't want to give up for. Like I said, I was talking to you earlier. You brought this up to me, and I said, well, it doesn't really make sense because Bryce Callahan is a slot corner, and that's kind of the last corner that we need. I feel like I like our slot situation a good amount. I like Ugo. I like obviously like Marquise Blair. I think that we have a lot of upside there. Like I think we have a lot of talent there. I like what we can do with our slot room, and Ugo showed that he could play really well last year. Marquise had some good moments in the preseason. Pretty confident in our slot corner room there.
Yeah.
You're kind of talking about, guys. So this video is going to kind of shift about Bryce Callahan, who I think would be a good get for the Seahawks if we could play him on the outside, which I think he might have done.
I think you could play him on the outside. He did a little bit of that with the Bears because, with the Bears, it was like Kyle Fuller and Prince Mukamara were the outsides, and then he was the inside. So I would imagine you could move him outside. I don't see why not.
I mean, it depends on his height. I think he's like 5'9", 5'10"-ish.
I think he's 5'11", if I had to check. Let me check it right now.
Yeah. But, I mean, Bryce Callahan obviously is a great player.
Okay, yeah, you're right. He's 5'9". Yeah, he's a little short. But then again, so is Trey Brown. So,
true. But, it's all about the experience. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can even make a play there, if we even try to make a play there.
Right.
I'm more concerned about two position groups that lack depth on the team, which is wide receiver and defensive tackle. Defensive tackle, kind of the obvious name that comes to mind here is Geno Atkins, who we have met with. Reportedly, it went well. He had a good physical. Nobody has shown reported interest in him.
I think Minnesota, like there were whispers with Minnesota. But I think
whispers, but no official.
We're definitely the front runner. Yeah, we're definitely the front runner.
No official, they're talking with his agent or they're having a meet. It's not like that. Just like potential interest. Obviously, Geno Smith is the main one. Geno Atkins is the main one for defensive tackle. Talking about wide receiver is a little different though. There's a couple guys who we could go out and get, I think, that would be pretty good veteran wide receiver gets. And we do have K. Johnson, who wouldn't be an awful pickup, but I think when you have the money that you opened up for Ahkello Witherspoon,
you got to pick up somebody you got to pick up a veteran.
Yeah, you want to pick up a veteran. You want to pick up, and a guy who could really make an impact on your team. I think K. Johnson's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think that he's a legitimate impact player. You know, I don't think he's like wow, we got Kate Johnson on the roster.
Sound the alarms, baby. It's over.
I love Kate Johnson. I think he's a very talented player. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Looking at what is available on the wide receiver front, there is a couple that are interesting. Golden Tate, Alshon Jeffrey, Josh Gordon, who might be coming back. A little bit interesting there. But the most recent one that has kind of come out, there's two that have come out recently. The one is a former Seahawk. The other is not a former Seahawk. One is John Brown, who was recently let go. I have to get this right in my head. He was let go in free agency by the Bills, signed by the Raiders, and then the Raiders cut him.
Man, every wide receiver who gets signed by the oh my gosh, Rattler just threw another pick. Sorry. Every Raiders wide receiver that signs with the Raiders in free agency is just leaves. Antonio Brown just was like, I'm out of here, peace. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry to shit on Raiders fans, but out of the names you named, I mean, I don't think Golden Tate or Alshon Jeffrey does really anything for us.
But there's one guy who I think could be a difference maker.
Who?
Another guy who was also just signed by the Raiders, somehow onto their practice squad, which is a hell of a get. Talking about David Moore. David Moore was released by Carolina, signed onto the Raiders practice squad, which means that he is still free game. If a team wants to sign him to the active roster, they can sign him to the active roster.
Yep.
I would not hate the move for a couple of reasons. He obviously knows Russ. He has chemistry with Russ. He's a good player. He's played well in Seattle. He has his heart. He still has some of his heart, I imagine, in Seattle.
Yeah.
Another couple things, he could play both outside and in the slot, which is a good factor to have for a backup wide receiver. Freddie Swain can do that. Kate Johnson on the practice squad can do that. You can get another guy like David Moore to do that potentially. I think that if we were to replace Ahkello Witherspoon's spot, I think it likely comes down to David Moore or Geno Atkins. I would prefer Geno Atkins because I really think we need interior pass rush.
Yeah.
But if it becomes a concern for depth at wide receiver, it's not crazy.
Now sticking with Ahkello for a second, or sticking with the corners for a second, an interesting note that I've kind of seen or discovered is I've counted. There are a lot more quality wide receivers in the NFL than there are quality corners. So corner's a very hard position to find. So I would much prefer to get a difference maker at corner if we could, because I feel like, there's a lot more quality wide receivers. So I feel like put a priority on corner. Obviously, Geno Atkins at defensive tackle would be great also. But if we're not able to get another corner, that's understandable. Then I think definitely we could go with either Geno or get a guy who can make a difference at wide receiver. My preferred option of the ones you gave would probably be John Brown, just because he's fast. And I mean, if we're just gonna go full on track meet with our receivers, then might as well throw DK, D, and John Brown together. That'd be freaking awesome. But yeah, I wouldn't mind either one, obviously. Maybe John Schneider will just go balls to the walls and just get both of them, just because why not? You know what I mean?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
So that's gonna be it.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's gonna be it for me.
Kind of the main note. I mean, it's a we'll see kind of thing. I don't know how it's gonna work out necessarily. I think that there's a equally high chance that we could just be like, hey, we're just gonna sign some no-name wide receiver who Pete likes, and that could happen. But obviously, the ideal for me would be Geno Atkins. Seems like the same would be for Mike. Also, John Brown is a name to keep an eye on. But that's going to end this video. We appreciate y'all for watching. Leave a comment, leave your thoughts, and we will see you next time.